Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist Studio. It's very, very nice here at the moment, lots of sunshine, and I'm dressed in yellow and I'm attracting bees. But never mind all that. I've closed the windows, we're quite safe. In today's video, as mentioned in the previous one, I'm doing a comics page. Comics page involving characters of my own as opposed to a commission one. The characters are called Brabbles and Boggitt, more about that in the video. And I'm hoping to have it completed by the end of the year. I'm doing it parallel with another graphic novel. Quite why I'm doing this I don't know, but I'm doing 2 pages. Do one, do the other, do one, do the other, all the way through. And I'm also doing them all in pencil. I'm doing all the pencils in one go rather than pencil a page, ink it, pencil a page, ink it, which has always been the way I do it. But the whole thing is just, the whole process has changed. So I'm going to be just producing a page every now and again, talking about it, letting you know how the project is progressing, and hopefully towards the end of it all you'll get so excited you'll go to your partners and say, can I have my pocket money? And they'll give you your pocket money and you'll grab it in your hot little mitts and you'll rush out to Amazon and purchase a copy. At least that's the plan anyway. That and world domination, but that's a whole new thing. So what we're doing is, I'm just, like I said, just doing the pencil stages today because it would take too long to do pencil and ink. And every now and again I'll do another page. Sometimes it'll be pencil, sometimes it'll be ink, sometimes it'll be the other project, which is Castle Comics. More about that in another video. But rather than keep waffling on now, I think you're probably more interested in getting into it. But that does bring up a point. I was a naughty cartoonist when it came to the camera angles. I made a mistake, and at some point my hand just goes, I'm drawing all sorts of things up here that you can't see because you're kind of down here. But don't worry, it wasn't that important. It was just, I think, the leaves of a tree or something like that. It wasn't massively important. It wasn't for a great length of time, and it was just the top panel. So apologies now for that, and I'll try and get that right from this point onwards. I'm nailing all these little bugs as I go along, but it is frustrating, and I apologise. So right, that done. Let's go and draw a comics page, shall we? Right, welcome back now. This is the first, it's not the first page, but it's the first video in what will be, I guess, the general lead up to the release of the graphic novel that I just mentioned in the introduction. Like I said, I've already drawn this once before, 2007 I think, but it was for a Dutch publisher. It wasn't in English. It took me a while to find the scripts. I did manage to come across them. I stumbled across them. Great, now I've got it. So I'm using that as a basis. Excuse me. I'm using that as a basis, and then I'm going to redo it, only for the modern audience, which I kind of like sort of takes their cartoons more in a manga style format. I don't mean I'm going to draw manga, because I think I've touched on this subject before. I've nothing against manga, I just don't want anything to do with it, because all the artists tend to draw in a kind of like a house style, I think, and I don't like that. I want to be original. I have my own style. Whereas it's fine for them, absolutely fine for them. It's not fine for me. So yeah, that's it. It's just a personal opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right. It's right for me. Right, so that said, Brabbles and Boggitt. This will be, I don't know how many of these pages I'll do, but the videos will only be of me, initially, of me penciling them. I'm not going to ink them as well, because it would just be a massively long video.
and attention span and nerve endings will be frayed, I think. So I'll just do the penciling. And I'll just do the odd one. I'm not going to do them every week or every page. Just going to sort of doodle along and draw the pictures and let you know where the story's going, how it's developing, and things like that. Just keep you updated. So hopefully when the book is close to completion, you'll be built into such a fever pitch that you'll rush out with your pocket money and go and purchase a copy. That's what I will unashamedly admit that is one of the aims of this YouTube channel. I mean, I'm giving you hopefully entertainment, but there has to be a means to an end for me. I mean, I need to make a living from cartoons, and hopefully you'll enjoy what it is that I do and go out and support me. Some of you already do, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Right, now what can we tell you about the Brabbles and Boggitt? Brabbles, the mouse, is a ridiculously overconfident character. Comes up with business idea after business idea after business idea. None of them are any good because he never thinks them through. He just sees an idea and thinks, "Ooh, I'll make lots of money out of that," and rushes ahead and tries to do it. It's kind of a firebrand, I guess. But because he never thinks it through, it usually ends up in some kind of disastrous situation, of which his, not so much partner in crime, but his frustrated travelling buddy, Boggitt, who's a doom and gloom caterpillar, always winds up, I guess, having to deal with the issues. First of all, he has to, whatever idea Brabbles comes up with, Boggitt has to try and make work, because he knows that if it goes wrong, it's always Boggitt that will wind up in trouble. Now, he started off as when I first created him many years ago, he started off as quite an identifiable caterpillar. But then eventually he developed into this, he's a caterpillar because I say he's a caterpillar, which is along the lines of what Walt Disney artists did when they were trying to create Jiminy Cricket, or Jimmy Cricket, or his name Jiminy Cricket. They tried all kinds of variations on what was he was a cricket, wasn't he? Tried all kinds of variations on that cricket theme, and none of them looked right. So in the end, they drew this character, and Walt Disney looked at it and liked it, and they said, but it looks nothing like a cricket. And that's when either Disney or one of the artists, I forget who, said, well, it's a cricket because we say it's a cricket. And I think there's not one person who doesn't look at Jiminy Cricket and think, yeah, that's a cricket, even though it looks nothing like it, because that's what we've been led to believe. It's amazing what the mind can take in. Also, a caterpillar would never be the size of a mouse. That was also a problem I had, but I thought, stop worrying, stop overthinking these things, and just enjoy the story, which is what I'm doing. I'm actually having a great time doing it. So, yeah, that's the basis of these two characters. They live in the land of Once Upon a Time. So it's effectively taking well-known fairy tales and giving them a modern-day twist. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about that after I've got the initial complications of this panel over and done with. Yeah. Yeah, the reason why I'm not inking them is because this is, I think it's page 11 so far, or 12 or 13, somewhere around there anyway. And I'm approaching this in a completely different way. I've never produced comic pages like this before, because first of all, I'm penciling the entire book before I ink it. Normally, I would pencil it, ink a page, pencil another page, ink another page, and do it that way. But for some reason, I don't know why, I started doing it. I just started penciling them. And that's it. I didn't bother to ink them at all. I thought I'll do all the inking later. So that's how it's worked out at the moment. Age group? Well, there isn't one. I mean, you might sort of say, oh, fairy tales, yeah, well, that's the general domain of children. Yeah, it's written so as children will enjoy it, but it's also written so adults will enjoy it. So it has no real age barrier. Now, we're not doing anything in the background, because when I come to colouring it, I'll do that in Photoshop, so there'll be effectively sort of like bushes here and trees and what have you, and it'll just be pushed into the background. It's the technique I discovered a while ago and quite like, and I'm going to stick to. So the wording on this is, yeah, okay, it's a fairly large panel for that, so we'll give him, yeah, give him that size panel. I could do all this in a art program, but I still use Photoshop, and so I just scan these things in. And I'm quite happy using these ellipses. They work for me. Yeah, right, so there's panel 1. I don't know how far we're into it now, but there you go. Panel 2, yeah, it's a similar scene, only their attention is now caught by, yeah, someone shrieking off site. Now, is that right? Am I getting it right? Yeah. Okay. Also, another strange thing about this is I'm doing the pages on a sheet of A4. This is only A4. Normally my comic pages are on A3. I'll see if I've got a comic page here. Yeah, there we go. There's a Kid Kong comic page. As you can see, that's on a sheet of A3. Fairly large. Then we go down to my A4. And I don't know why. I don't know why I did it. Everything about this project, because there's 2 graphic novels I'm doing. One of them is Castle Comics, which is, once again, a comic I've done in the past. I sold to the gift shops in historic sites in the UK. And it went really well. But that was, I did that around about the same time that I did this, the Brabbles Boggitt book. So I'm going to do that again, same size as this, redraw the whole thing. See if I can't get a market for that as well. Reapproach all the people that bought it off me last time and see if they're willing to do it again. Once again, resized, manga-sized comic. It's how the kids consume it nowadays. It's what they know. They're slightly smaller. Are they smaller? I think they probably are a little bit smaller. Maybe a different angle, because we'll be having the let's coming off panel. So, and we do that by just doing this. That means it's coming from over there somewhere. Right, so over the period of time that it's going to take me to produce this, now it's, when I drew it originally, it was a 36 page, I think it was 36 page graphic novel, because that's what you had to work to. And you still do if you publish in Europe. They tend to, no, what was it? No, 46 pages, get it right. Because you have to work between 45 and 48 pages, roughly the length of the stories that they put out, or their bande dessinée, graphic novels. Or we call them graphic novels, don't we? But they call them the bande dessinée. There's a story behind that. I was in Paris once, and it's the home of Asterix the Gaul and Lucky Luke and a whole bunch of other great comics that I absolutely loved. And I've never visited a shop in Paris, in France before, and I know that they had huge sections of the shop just given over to this bande dessinée. It was like a comic fan's dream come true. So I really wanted to see this. So I went into the hotel that I was staying at, and I went to the receptionist, and I said, bonjour, monsieur. And he said, bonjour. I said, parlez-vous anglais? Do you speak English? And he said, oui, monsieur. So I told him, I said, I'm looking, I don't know where in Paris I need to go to a shop that sells bande dessinée. He went, bande dessinée? I said, yeah, bande dessinée. Bande dessinée? And he was confused. I said, yeah, bande dessinée, like Asterix Le Gaulle. Oh, bande dessinée. I thought, and what did I say? I said, yeah, bande dessinée. Yeah, right, yeah, there. So he sort of gave me directions, and roughly it was over by Notre Dame. It's by the student area. They have a lot of shops that sell bande dessinée there. So I went into Paris the next day. I was wandering around. I was trying to find the quickest directions to get to to where the graphic novel shops were. And I found these other bookshops. I thought, I'll pop in there. I'll ask in there. So I said, bonjour. I said, mademoiselle. Was it a young woman? So I said, bonjour, mademoiselle. She said, bonjour, monsieur. Parlez-vous anglais? Oui, anglais. I speak English. Good, thank you. I said, I'm looking for shops that sell bande dessinée. She went, bande dessinée? I said, yes, bande dessinée. Bande dessinée? I said, Asterix Le Gaulle. Oh, bande dessinée. And I'm thinking, what am I saying? What do I sound like to these people? Anyway, this happened about half a dozen times. Same thing. Well, was bande dessinée? Asterix Gould. Ah, bande dessinée. Bloody hell. Anyway, by the time I'd finally got my points over, it was too late. I needed to go back, so I never got to actually go into one of these shops. I did find one, actually just off the Arc de Triomphe shop there, and it was quite an impressive sight. So yeah, that was my trip into Paris. Did a few other things whilst I was there. Didn't just try and find bande dessinée. So anyway, the bande dessinée, their books, whether they're a collection of one-page jokes or stories, as in the case of Asterix the Gaul, or as I say, the collection of jokes, as in Bill and Bull, or the goof, going with the goof, any of these, they tend to be, well, they are between 45 and 48 pages long. So I was forced to write the story to fit that format. But now I don't. The graphic novel market has moved on, and I can do it pretty much as I wish. Hold on a second, just get this bit. That's it. So another thing about the difference between this and a comic strip is more down to pacing. He's arguing like mad over there, and all of a sudden the screen comes over. That's Brabbles' reaction. This is Boggitt's. And his antennae actually become part of his action. Become part of his body language. I found it's a very powerful weapon, a very powerful tool. Right, so there we go. So yeah, so that's what they have to do. But I can do whatever I want now. I can give it as many pages as I want. So this particular section, this particular page that I'm doing now, takes place over half of a page of the original graphic novel. But as I continue to push on and write the story, I'll find that maybe there are things that I can add to. There's already a character that comes in right at the very end of the original book, and I'm going to have him appearing more often during the story. I won't explain who he is, but at the end all will be revealed. Ha ha! It's a bit of a denouement. See? Do you like that word? Do you like that? That's French, that is. I'll probably go over there and say denouement. They go, oh, denouement. Oh. When everything comes together at the end of this complicated story, oh, denouement. Oh, bloody hell. Now here, I've drawn the same scene, but I'm doing it from a different angle. That's important when it comes to doing comics, graphic novels. Very important, because otherwise it can be literally the same scene over and over and over again. You don't want that. The reader gets very bored very fast. But unlike, say, the superhero ones, I can't sort of have them coming at different angles or whatever. It wouldn't suit the story structure, this particular story structure. I used to go out and reference all countryside scenery and what have you, but now I draw my own. I just think, well, this is how I want it to look. So it does. All right, so there we have it. Like I say, I'm going to be telling you little bits and pieces about the book as we go on. There's no point me giving you every single detail now, because there'll be nothing left to talk about as we move forward. But needless to say, Brabbles and Boggitt was a set of characters I created pretty much 25 odd years ago, I think. Now, will I give them... Yeah, I will give them a joint shock balloon. Go along with that one there, I think. This will have, when I put it on the computer, this will have question mark, exclamation, sorry, question mark, exclamation mark, and question mark. Okay, so that's that 2 panels there done. Maybe I have a little bit of a tree coming over here. Yeah, I think we're done. Then these panels, the bottom 3 panels, are the same every time. All part of a technique though. And although you won't really know what it's about what he's saying. So actually we'll do the grass. There we go. Don't need it to be too large, just large enough. If you can hear noise in the background, I think I mentioned in my last video, which was the video where I drew Hagar the Horrible. I live, well, my house backs onto a private school. And the little Lord and Lady Fauntleroys are out there all saying, oh, I said, oh, jolly good shot, you know. Or playing tennis or basketball and ping pong. Actually, I'm watching now, they're playing ping pong. They've gone and got themselves a table out there. So, what a jolly good shot there, Hector. Well, I do think so. I've been practicing it all week, you know. Have you? I've been revising for exams. I've been practicing ping pong. And they do sound very much like that, remarkably like that. Yep, they have dived into back behind the bushes. At this part of the story, Brabbles has already decided that the next fortune or money-making scheme, get-rich-quick scheme that is going to involve and cause problems for Boggitt over is the instant porridge industry, even though Boggitt can't seem to get him to understand that, you know, instant porridge is just add milk. They've been doing that every morning for years, but he can't get him to understand. Now, as far as he's concerned, he's got a new idea, and that's all there is to it. I don't actually like doing these. I do them because the effect is what I want it to be, but I don't actually like doing it. It bores me, doing the same panel 2 or 3 times. But it needs to be done for the gag to work. Or the timing. It's not necessarily a gag, it's the timing of the words which to sort of make it humorous. There we go. Do you like this kind of stuff? And of course, I've got to say this, haven't I? If you do like it, so this sort of content that you enjoy, like and subscribe if you aren't already. And if you think you know people who might also enjoy this kind of drivel, then let them know. Send them a link to whatever video I've done that you think they'd be particularly impressed with or would enjoy or anything like that. And we'll grow the channel. I mean, it's growing, but it could grow faster. You know? With a couple of 100,000, wouldn't hurt. The more people I've got here, the more chance I've got of potentially making a living out of it. And so I suppose we're coming towards the end of the first one now. It's going to be quite unusual, isn't it, to end without any inking. Like I say, I don't need to do that now. I won't be doing it for a while. But once I've finished the book, penciling it, shall we say. Oh, I didn't get over the point. I said it's 46 pages it was in the book. I'm estimating this book, when it's completed, to be somewhere between 110 and 125 pages. That's what it'll end up with this finished page count. It might be a bit more, could be a bit less, I don't know. But it'll be much more of a read, much more of a pacey read. Like I said, I can get a lot more things in there if I want to. Add a few bits more to the story. Yeah. All right. Last I don't have to worry too much about it because I know that when it comes to inking it, I know what's going on. This is just really me putting these roughly in the right place. And then the final bit. Yes, yeah. And there we have it. The first, well, that you've seen anyway, the first pages from the Brabbles and Boggitt book. If you come back next time, I'll explain more about it. But this story, this particular story, is going to be a take on Goldilocks and the Three Bears, with all sorts of different twists and turns. So now you know what the story is. It's literally a modern day version, or rather with a modern day take on it, shall we say, but from the eyes, or viewed through the eyes, of these two little Egypts. I'll tell you more about the reviews that the original book received in Holland and the frustrations of the publisher who put it out there. I don't even know whether they're around. I didn't even know whether he was alive. I mean, he was quite old when I knew him. So I was, what, 31, 32? And he must have been 60 then. Well, that was 30 years ago, so chances are he's no longer with us. Now I'm putting the balloons and borders round because I like the look of it. It's just the pencils on there. Okay, well, we are almost done. Keep coming back. There'll be more of these. There'll be more of other stuff. Lots of other stuff. And I will be, where am I now? Yes, this one. I will be doing all kinds of other stuff as usual. I do single panels, editorials, colouring books. There's a dad jokes book, the second one, that has to come out soon. It has to be started, not come out started. So I'll be doing that and showing some cartoons from that. And I'm looking to do a, what would I call it now? What would I call it? It's basically a tutorial on, well, not a tutorial, sorry. Me drawing the same, inking the same picture 3 times. Once with a dip pen, once with one of those pens that you can get like a brush pen, and finally with a brush. So I guess I'll be giving it a tester and giving my own personal view on all 3. I've worked with all 3 of them, but you get to see how the same picture looks inked in 3 different ways. So if you're not sure what material you'd like or how you'd like to go about inking your cartoons, then that's the video for you. And that could very well be the one after this one, I'm not sure. Just these last few lines and we're done. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please come back for more, and obviously keep updated with this, because from time to time we will be doing more pages. This and the other one, and they will be over on, I'll be putting them all together on their own little playlist. I've got a few playlists up there now. If you want to go to the playlists page, there's one on gag cartoons. There's one on, me drawing cartoon strips like Hagar the Horrible and Andy Cap, and there'll be more of those as and when. Keep adding those to it. There's all sorts of playlists up there. Go along and have a look at it. They'll keep growing, and of course this will be one. So will the Castle Comics. So the Brabbles and Boggitt book will have one. The Castle Comics book will have one. Dad Jokes will have it. Just a nice place to go. If you particularly enjoy that thing, you can binge watch a whole bunch of them. So there we go. That's the first of the Brabbles and Boggitt's pages. The next time, I'll tell you more about the story. And the time after that, I should probably tell you the influence of the two characters. The one of them is me. The other one, well, we'll find out about that. I'll keep you informed. And of course, I'll keep you updated. Because the next page I'll show you won't be the next page on it. It'll probably be sort of, I don't know, 10, 15 pages down the line. I don't know. But I'll tell you what's been happening in the story up until now. So I'll keep you updated and you get an idea of what this story's all about. Whether it's the kind of thing for you or for your children or nephews and nieces or anything like that. In the meantime, thank you once again for your time. Thank you for coming over and spending it with me. It's great having you on board. Great having you around. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. But until then, have a lovely time. And bye-bye for now.